Hey everybody, and welcome to AniBreak, the show that breaks down the week's topics in anime, manga, and video games. My name's Jason, and this week, the majority of our time we're going to spend on the winter anime season that is upon us now. If you guys were watching last week, we started off with the preview episode, and I already gave some first impressions of like the trailers and a couple of the episodes that I already saw before that episode. There are so many other series out there that just started up this season. There's really no way for me to actually sit down in one episode and actually do a first impressions review of everything out there. So we're going to split that up into about at least 2 episodes. But even so, I have about 10 different series I'm going to give a first impression about the first 1 or 2 episodes that have been released online. Most of these have actually, if I remember correctly, everything we're actually going to review tonight is all available on Crunchyroll, which is usually most of everything. There are a few things still available from Funimation and Viz, mainly through Hulu. You also have a couple series from last season still going on, but I won't give a full review on those until they've actually concluded. So a little more time left on those. But before we get into these first impressions, and yeah, some of them are just weird. I'm not gonna lie, some of them are just weird. Let's get into some news right off the bat. So, let's talk about Yoshiyuki Tomino, known as the creator of everything Gundam. He is actually going to be hosting a press conference in about 6 days. Okay, why? Are we talking about another Gundam project? Actually, no. This is actually to announce a collaboration that hopefully will actually prove very fruitful and create some very epic projects. His company, Okaze no Okuru-sama, is actually going to team up with Hollywood special effects studio Legacy Effects. Legacy Effects used to be known as the Stan Winston Studio. The founder of that, Stan Winston, worked on some of the great movies, the Alien franchises. You also have Jurassic Park, the Terminator franchises. Even, unfortunately, after Stan Winston passed away, the company still worked on things like Avatar, The Avengers, Pacific Rim, Iron Man 3. So you take the quality of special effects that this company can provide, that this company can produce, and you team up with the creator of Gundam, the animes, the Gundam animes, I should say. Yeah. Now, Tomino has apparently been drafting a robot project codenamed G-Reco for a while now, like at least about 2 or 3 years. And it looks like with this announcement, we're hoping to see actually what's going to be this collaboration is going to be about. We have about 6 days left, which means perfect timing, because right afterwards I should be able to give you the latest information on it on the next week's episode of AniBreak. So, creator of the Gundam anime, awesome Hollywood special effects for Pacific Rim. Put them together and let's see what happens. I have high expectations for this. I don't believe you would see anything licensed. Like, you won't see at least at this point, excuse me, a live action or a CG Gundam. Just because licensing rights, Bandai gets involved, you kind of start losing, a say in what you can do in a project like that. But given the fact that Tomino has actually been drafting a brand new project codenamed G-Reco, who knows? We'll have to see. Moving right along, it seems like Sailor Moon is everywhere nowadays. Ever since they made the announcement last year about the 20th anniversary of Sailor Moon, we've been seeing a steady stream, not of news about these series, but of all this goods and marketing. Things like, oh, we're going to revive some of the product lines from the original series when it first debuted. Okay, cool. That means you want people to spend money on nostalgia. You keep on teasing us about this anime. When the hell is it going to happen? First it was going to be last year, then it was going to be winter, and now it's being pushed to July. We already knew that the anime is going to be streaming worldwide for free on the Nico Nico service. Momodou Clover Z is performing the theme song. We did finally get some new news about this, believe it or not. The producer of this series is actually, this new anime, confirmed that this is actually not a remake of the first season. This one is actually going to be adapting the original manga and starting from scratch all over again. So, with that being said, are we going to get some pretty intense scenes? Most likely. Now, anybody who watched Sailor Moon in the United States when it was on like Fox Kids and that horrible abomination known as the Fox edit and dub will probably be very surprised about what's actually happened in like the unedited episodes of Sailor Moon and even the manga. So we will find out more about this come July. Who knows what's going to happen near that? Is the convention going to receive the premiere? Are we all just going to have to sit around a laptop or a desktop connected to a TV and watch this online? We'll have to see. Although my money is still on, it's going to be like May. We're all getting ready. We're like, okay, cool. It's been a while. You've teased us for almost a year now. Let's get started. Oh, it's been pushed to winter 2015. And people will rage. Justifiably, but they will rage. All right. On a bit of a side news, it is no surprise that I'm a fan of the Miss Monochrome anime series, because this series came out of nowhere. I didn't know much about Yuri Horie's Vocaloid, for lack of a better phrase, until the first episode. The series, the short 5-minute episode format actually works well to its advantage. It doesn't stay too long. The jokes don't linger. It parodies practically everything out there in the anime community, to the point where there was an episode where they turned Miss Monochrome into an android. And then the week later, Good Smile Company comes out and says, yeah, we're actually going to make that. Well, it looks like we are not anywhere near the end of the Miss Monochrome franchise. Animated News Network made a post recently about an upcoming manga for Miss Monochrome. It's going to start in February in Japan. And I'm kind of hoping that with Crunchyroll actually launching their manga simulpub service, I guess you can call it, I'm hoping they actually pick this up as well, because I mean the anime series is still available on Crunchyroll. It's the website. So if you guys haven't seen an episode yet, go check it out. You can watch all 10 episodes in one sitting. It's not that long. It's enjoyable, and you'll also be very looking forward to this manga adaptation. All right. That's enough news for right now, because let's get into the winter anime season. If you guys remember from last week, I was talking about how this season there seems to be an imbalance between different genres. Usually, in a typical anime season, you would have, mecha and Gundam type, projects. You also have shoujo, romantic comedy, rom-com, slice of life. You would have action. You would have a couple dramas in there, maybe a fantasy one, but you get kind of balance out with a couple like fan service laden titles in there for the fanboys. No, not this season. This season, there's an overabundance of fan service to the point where I watch these series and go, wouldn't like some of these be best suited for like the summer? Or, I mean, why are you trying to do it right now? Whatever. I don't make the rules regarding what anime gets launches when, but that is just what it is. But you know what? new anime means I must watch it and give my 2 cents on it. So let's go through the part 1, as I'm calling, of the first impression set list for the winter season. And let's jump right now into magical warfare. There are a couple series this season that are, quite frankly, just the same as this. Hey, look, it's high school. You have a bunch of random students get together. Oh no, they have powers, and they can go do crazy stuff. Either they're going to help people or they're going to go cause chaos. Kind of one or the other. This one, for some reason, takes that idea and tries to take itself serious. Yeah. I mean, you have so many parts of this series that are so cliche, and yet they try to pull it off as a serious bit at times. It doesn't really work. The main character, Takeshi, basically he's a massive kendo fan, practices it all the time, hates being at home, has a psychotic mother, and apparently just wishes that school will start up again because he has all this free time. He has no idea what to do. High school student wanting to go back to school. Okay. Apparently, he's at school, wrapping up after practice, and he falls out of a. He's walking through school, and a girl just all of a sudden falls out of the door near the locker rooms, in a haze of, I guess we're gonna call magical dust. Takashi decides, okay, fine, I'll take her to the nurse's office, but of course, in a situation, she's dreaming. She reaches out to him. Oh my God, don't leave me. Of course, she's still dreaming. Instantly wakes up, realizing that she's hugging a complete stranger, and decides to pull out her gun and start shooting at him. Yeah. All of a sudden, a couple other students come in with apparently magical powers, and for some reason he starts to have magical powers himself. You find out that this mysterious girl named Mui has accidentally given him these powers, not to mention a couple of his friends that they run into a few minutes later. So the end of the first episode, all these characters try to band together and try to learn how to use magic in the mirror world, because apparently using magic in reality actually can hurt not only your others, but also if you, I believe, attack another magic user, you lose your magic powers itself. I don't know. I look at this and I go, you start off with magic powers, you try to take yourself seriously, you throw everybody into an alternate dimension, basically, to have them train, just because this girl accidentally gave this kendo kid and all of his friends powers. I can't really say much about it. It's like middle of the road. If I had to give it 1 out of 5, between 1 and 5, I give it a 3. I can't really give it one way or the other. Probably because it's just too early within the season to actually have a more well-rounded review of this. But I watch this and I go, the animation's not bad. The action sequences are kind of cool. As if they would just only shut up and not take themselves so seriously, this would actually become a decent, enjoyable series. I'll give it my standard. I'll give it a few more episodes and then move on from there. I'm hoping for better. I highly doubt that I'm actually going to get this. Moving on, let's talk about Nisekoi. So this is by Studio Bones, who's also releasing this season's Space Dandy. We'll get to my review of those episodes next week. With this one, again, we're going to go into a little bit on the fan service side. We're going to go with the high school romantic comedy love triangle because, of course, you have to have a boy who's given a promise to, marry or be with a girl at a very young age, and now they're in high school and he barely remembers what's going on. Oh, God, how many times are we going to go through this path? I guess so. All right. So, let's just go through it real quick. So, you have the main character. He met a girl when he was younger, made a promise to a girl to be with her when they grew up. The promise was kept between he received a locket and she held on to the key. Go to present time, he's in high school now. He still has the locket, but he doesn't really do anything with it at all. Doesn't even try to actively search out the girl, just like, oh, I just had it since I was a kid. Enter childhood, or a friend from later on in childhood, as far as he can tell. That obviously, to everyone except him, has the absolute hots for him. Always in the background, always trying to help, and he's just ignorant as hell. Enter the girl on the right, and of course the hot-headed, hot-blooded. What was her name? Anyway, she's biracial. She's from America. Her father's American, mother is Japanese. So she has not only a difference in terms of how she looks, but also in her personality. And of course, these two fight like cats and dogs. At near the end of the episode, you find out that our main character actually is the heir to a Yakuza group. And apparently said group has actually been fighting a turf war with another group down in another city. Well, to try to ease the ties between the two, you find out the transfer girl is actually, of course, the daughter of the head of the opposing clan, and they must, from now on, start acting like boyfriend and girlfriend. So we have oblivious guy forced into a relationship with a hot-headed girl, also friends with in a love triangle, no less, with a childhood friend who obviously was the girl from back then, or of course they will probably change that later on in the series. I don't know. I look at this and I go, it looks nice. Bones does a fantastic job on the production values, but we've gone down this path so many times, I can draw out the entire map of all, 12 episodes and then just use it as like a bingo card. Oh, they got this right. Oh, they got this right, and make it a drinking game. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I can't really say anything other than that. Speaking of something very, very, very similar to what we just talked about, is a series called Engaged to the Unidentified. Because this one is... the plot is almost exactly the same. Just reverse the genders. You have a girl who, for some reason, the family friend is actually has an arranged marriage to this guy. He's completely quiet. He doesn't bother anybody. He's completely boring. And for some reason, he's actually going to start living with them. Okay, sure, whatever. Have high school antics. Enter a mysterious boy's younger sister. This girl should be in middle school, but apparently she's going to the same high school as these two. And has the thought that she must be the one to reform our main character and to be the ideal bride and ideal wife, even though she herself has no real life experience whatsoever. Here's the thing, though. I look at this and I go, I know you were based off of 4-koma. There were a couple scenes that just seemed right out of a 4-koma. That's to be expected. But I will give it props for trying to expand away from that. There's a good chunk of the first episode that doesn't even feel like a 4-koma. It feels like they're really trying to set the basis down for an episode, for a series that should have a decent storyline. Is it really going to get that far? I have no idea. It all depends on, does it live up to the hype? And because there wasn't much hype to begin with, it'll probably be just mediocre at best. Now for a surprise. I was 100% ready to just pass off this next series as pure fan service. It's not going to be interesting at all. And yet, I've watched 2 episodes so far, and I'm actually finding myself enjoying it. For dumb reasons, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm talking about Sakura Trick. This one, okay, you see the 2 main characters. You're thinking, okay, is this going to be another one of those will they, won't they get together kind of series? No, first episode, they're just making out. There's 2 almost uncomfortably long makeouts that's between these two girls. So yes, if you are a fan of Yuri, you're going to enjoy this series. This series is based off of 4-Koma, and I swear they took just the backgrounds out of the manga and went and just copy paste into the backgrounds for the anime, CG design and all. I mean, it's so basic in the backgrounds. It's funny. Now that being said, once you get beyond the scenes, you actually introduced to all 6 girls, 3 different couples. You're gonna be following these 3 couples throughout this series of about 12 episodes. But I have to say, the 4-Koma works well for this kind of series, and they adapted it pretty damn well. Just for the sole fact, the jokes, even though they come fast and furious, they're actually entertaining. They're actually funny at times. There's a couple scenes where you kind of just look at the screen and go, really? That actually just happened? And you might be screaming, physics, how the hell did that happen? And then you realize you're talking about an anime. So you sit back and laugh and just enjoy it. Honestly, this was a bit of a surprise for me. I've watched 2 episodes so far. I have to say that Haruka and Yu, the 2 main girls, you can tell that even before they started making out in the first episode, that these girls actually cared for each other. So this is not one of those, they're slowly getting together and trying to learn each other. No, they're childhood friends. They know each other backwards and forwards. And now for them to take this next step, I mean, there is fan service aplenty in this, but you know what? It works well for it. I actually kind of recommend going to check this one out. It is on Crunchyroll. Should we talk about Wake Up Girls? Should we talk about the Idol series? We might as well. Wake Up Girls made a bit of a commotion before it actually started airing, because they made the announcement that not only would the series start last week, but on the same day as the first episode airing on TV, that there would actually be a movie released in theaters same day. Now, I've watched both the movie and the first episode, and essentially the entire movie just fleshes out the backstory of the company that these girls who are trying to be idols end up working at. Does it add really much to see both the movie and the first episode? You know, not really. You can get the gist of everything that was in the movie in the first episode, and the big dance sequence is exactly the same frame for frame for both the episode and the movie. So if you want my suggestion on this, you can go ahead and skip the movie and just go straight to just the first episode of the anime. The gist behind this: you have a failing talent agency just about to go under when the owner decides, you know what, we should go to make an idol group, and they go out and find these girls and try to start putting one together, because the the owner, quote unquote, smells money on idols. So yeah, she's just kind of a money grabber. You find out about halfway through the first episode that she actually bails not only on the producer but all the girls as well, and it's how the girls kind of band together and at least try to get their debut album and an initial first concert off the ground. It is enjoyable at times to see the girls actually get together and support each other. There was a bit of a unnecessary surprise for me in the fact that the girls seem like, you know what, okay, if I have to show some fan service, I'm fine with doing that. And so during their dance sequence, there's all these girls in school uniforms, and they'll do moves and start doing panty shots. it wasn't needed. It just wasn't needed. But I kind of have a feeling that the way they went about it, the girls basically said, okay, we kind of need the exposure, pun intended, so we might as well do it and allow us to move forward. So am I going to be actively looking forward to check out the next episode? No. This is not Idolmaster. This is not Love Live. Nor does it need to be. It's going to feel a different niche for some of the fans out there. Does this mean I'm not just going to stop watching it? No. I'll probably tune in again in about a month and see where they're at and see if it's actually still worth watching. But if you're a fan of Idol series, you're probably going to enjoy Wake Up Girls. Almost done with our part 1 of our review. Let's go to something that was crazy, fun, I loved it, and I cannot wait for the next episode. Let's talk about Wizard Barristers. There were so many things about this series that I just enjoyed. I mean, yeah, when you watch it, you're instantly thinking it's Law and Order Magic Edition, but you wouldn't be that far off. The plot is pretty basic. I mean, you have barristers are essentially attorneys, defense attorneys for magic users. There's their own magic court out there, so of course they need their own defense team. That part is actually kind of basic. You can get through that, no problem. The fun part so far has actually been everything outside of the courthouse. In regards to the action sequences, in terms of the magic usage, I have to say the animation is actually spectacular for a TV series. I'm looking forward to see how they're going to expand the magic usage from this first episode. The character design, if you've seen Kite, if you've seen Mezzoforte, you've seen this animation style before, pretty much same people. That being said, it's I would call it almost a nice homage to back in the day, because I haven't seen these character designs in a while. The animation is very smooth. I actually really enjoy it. It's also very colorful, so it just pops off the screen. Not so much as, say, Gatchaman Crowds did, but actually pretty dang close to it in terms of just the color quantity, I should say. Now, like with Kite and Mezzoforte, there is a decent amount of fan service involved, but for some, like I said, I can't get those two series, the movie and the series, out of my head when watching this. So when the fan service does come, it's just like, okay, that's just par for the course. Let's just accept it and move on. I'm really hoping for this thing to go somewhere, because it had a fantastic opening episode. I cannot wait to see where this is going to go. You guys will hopefully enjoy it just as much as I am. At least give that first episode a chance. Okay. Let's see. We have 4 more to go through real quick. I'm going to roll through these. What about World Conquest Zvezda Plot? Zvezda. Zvezda Plot. I was so ready to, again, like before, Sakura Trick, so ready just to, pass this to saying, oh, it's going to be horrible fan service. And you know what? It is not the same kind of fan service, but you know what? It is what it is. And it kind of surprised me at points. I mean, okay, you have Kate, this little tiny girl. She seems destined, or she says she's destined to actually take over the world. She finds this little guy, Asta, walking around. He was just an innocent bystander. Through a series of events, for some reason decides, you know what, I'll go ahead and follow this girl for a bit. She says that she's going to go on massive adventures and taking over the world, and so she needs a protector, and therefore I should go help her. Okay, she's delusional. She's a little tiny girl. I'm going to go ahead and just follow her around and be entertained for a little while. Yeah. And then things happen where she goes from this little outfit to what the hell is that? That's some. So for some reason, I looked at this and went, "Wow, some Lollicon's fantasy just came true." But it was definitely a character design change that I was not expecting. Throughout this episode, you not only see, giant tanks and robots, but also a giant floating squid that, when it gets shot and explodes into thousands of bouncing little creature tribble things, that and leave this little pink-haired demonic bunny stuffed animal that she carries around. And so you look at this and go, wait, so you take a girl with delusions about world conquest, but they're not really delusions, are they? She actually has these powers, and she has this group of people, of warriors, to basically back her up for this this quest. Okay. Like, I kind of enjoyed watching everything except for her transformation into that thing that barely covers anything. I'm like, aren't you like 8 or 9? Why are you wearing stuff that 2 postage stamps and some string would cover more? It's like, okay, fan service, lollies, okay, whatever, move on. But aside from that, it was actually very fun to watch. It doesn't take itself anywhere serious, and because of that, it actually works so well. So I think you guys would enjoy it. Check out the first episode. It is on Crunchyroll. This next series wasn't really for me. I really couldn't get into it. We are talking about Witchcraft Works. I saw the trailers for this, and it didn't really appeal to me, but I always have to give the new series a shot, so I sat down kind of begrudgingly and started watching this one. So you try to watch it, and it's very, very generic. I mean, you have this girl, this main girl. She is I guess you can call her the idol of the school. Everybody loves Ayaka. She rarely shows any emotion whatsoever. She has a figure that most fanboys would dream about, I guess. But of course, everybody says, "Oh, she's so cool." Her fan club has booked lunches like months in advance, and then she starts hanging out with just this normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill boy who he's just unimpressive. I mean, Honoka doesn't really do anything. And so all of a sudden she starts paying attention to him. The fan club gets really pissed off at him. How dare you take any of her attention away from us, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out, oh, she kind of has a secret. She's also a witch. Okay, that came out of nowhere. You get to find out that there's a number of these other witches out there that she's going to have to fight. And the first episode brought out these, like, mechanical robot bunny things. Electro bunnies, maybe? And I look at this and I'm going, okay, so you have fight scene. You have these two characters. One shows no emotion, yet she's apparently a badass with fire. The other, the boy, Honoka, he doesn't do anything, and yet she is completely interested in saying, I'm here to serve you, to protect you. Oh, God, it's going to be one of these series all over again. And yet, all this, I don't understand how this series is. I don't know where it's going to go, and honestly, I kind of not interested in this one. Very generic animation. The only detail that I ever saw came from the electro bunnies because they were CG. The battle was boring between her and the bunnies, just for the sole fact that she showed zero emotion. This would be like Yuki Nagato if she was 6'1" and kind of grew out a bit. Let's call it that. But even so, Yuki Nagato's battles were awesome and entertaining. This one just seemed blasé at times. Am I going to be watching this one? No. This one, I can't get behind it. I'm sure there's probably be some epic battles between all the witches, but why all of a sudden they're going to go with the cliche, hey, most popular kid in school is going to go after a nobody and protect them. Okay, sure, whatever. Let's move on from that. You know what? I just got to show the picture. Okay, this is Setokai Yakeen Domo. I think I said that right. This one, yeah, I can't. I can't really say too much about this one. I mean, if you've seen the first season, you know exactly what you're getting into. If you haven't, the first episode of this second season, it reintroduces all the characters that in the first half, and then just jumps right back into the gags from there. It is standard slice of life high school comedy. Get a bunch of kids together. They form a club. Apparently, these ones are part of the student council, and it's how them policing the school and hanging out. The only other thing about these characters is that they try to throw the most raunchy jokes they can possibly think of at each other, like in the same breath as "Hi, how are you?" There's a whole scene in the first episode where you have the one of the main girls trying to find I forget the guy's name. He's hiding for some unknown reason, and she goes on for like 4 or 5 phrases about how, he must have gotten, for lack of a better phrase, he got his dick cut in the toilet again. How did that happen? He does that all the time. And I look at this and go, what the hell did I just watch? But even so, you look at this and I'm going, okay, you're going to have these little quippy one-liners here, there, left, and right. You try to make yourself seem edgy and cool by throwing all these kind of jokes randomly throughout this entire episode. And it kind of doesn't really work. I think Sega Fan in the chat kind of has it right that this kind of tries to be South Park at times. It tries to build up, tension every once in a while, and the payoffs are just so lame. But then again, maybe that's the appeal of this series. I don't know. Like, I can see myself watching this. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm, dead tired. I need to watch something and be brain dead. This is kind of the series that I'd watch. But to try to watch this and actually not only try to watch it with with friends in the same room, you'd just be sitting there most of the time going, the hell did they just say? And not in a, oh my God, did you hear what they say? It's so, surprising. No, it's more along the lines of, are they trying to shock us? Because they're nowhere freaking close. Makes no sense. So, if you appreciated the first season, you're absolutely going to enjoy the second season. If you've never seen the first season, you can jump in right here without seeing the first season. Whether or not you want to, make that decision after you watch the first episode. Okay. For the last series that we're going to talk about tonight, and again, I could not fit all these into one episode. We'll continue these for next week. This one, I had no idea what the hell it was about going into it. It is called Nobunagun. This one could be fun, depending on where they go with this. You start off with Ogura Seo. She's a high school girl. She's a military nut. She's, walking around. She's a loner. The school goes out on a trip and to Taiwan, of all places. And while she's walking around, she's actually seeing like military hardware, and she's freaking out like a fangirl. But of course, out of nowhere, a huge bug-like creature crawls ashore. The military tries to stop it, and of course, they fail miserably. This is like every other kaiju flick out there. And then a superpowered individual named, of all things, Jack the Ripper shows up. And has backup. and the backups' names are Gandhi and Newton. And I'm like, wait, what? So, what is going on here? Are these like reincarnations of famous people back in the day, and they're all fighting these creatures? Okay. CO basically sees that a friend that she just made during this trip actually gets in danger. She gets pissed off. I'm going to protect her. I'm going to save her. And then, of course, she realizes that, wait a minute, I'm actually the reincarnation of, if I remember correctly, Nobunaga. And with that power, she finds this sphere that she got from Jack the Ripper to manifest a weapon of her choice, which is this massive freaking gun that has the recoil of a Buick. And she decides to rename herself Nobunagun. So military otaku is the apparent reincarnation of Nobunaga, uses mysterious power to make this amazing, huge fracking gun, and just lays waste to everybody. Thank you for Dark Horse for reminding me. It's Oda Nobunaga. Thank you very much. You watch this and go, the hell? When the characters do come out for the action sequences, I will say this: the darkened color palette that they use actually works well to its advantage. It makes the action seem a little more dire. It makes just some of the dialogue that's actually hilarious because, I must protect you, and it's all like serious, and you can't help but laugh at a situation like that. So yeah, that's Nobunagun. That's all I can say. Check it out. Am I gonna watch this long term? I don't know, because this whole thing of having invasion objects from space come down, and certain people gifted with magical powers, they can make up these weapons as long as it's based on an idea or a reincarnation of a famous person from the actual past. Like, okay, I can kind of understand how if you want to have someone named Gandhi protect you, he's actually a defensive character. That makes sense. Having Jack the Ripper as an offensive character makes sense. The weapons that they both conjure up, not so much sense. So again, this is just a fun series. You're not going to look too deep into this. You're just going to enjoy it. So for next week, we're going to talk about probably Space Dandy and, of course, the rest of the series that I haven't even touched yet on this episode. I want to hear your guys' responses as well. If you guys have a favorite series so far of this new season, let me know. Send me a message on Facebook and Twitter. You can hit me up. It's OtakuLife Jason for both of them. And maybe we'll include your short review on next week's episode. Few more things to talk about before we wrap up. One is a Kickstarter. You guys know that I'm always trying to find a way online for you guys to spend your money on. And Kickstarter is a fantastic place for me to find those things. Let's start off with actually a magazine. I guess you can call it an art book of sorts. This is a Kickstarter for Moe Headphone Dojin. Essentially, art book of several different artists. I think about 7 or 8 artists look at actual 6 designer headphones, and then of course they create completely original artworks of cute girls with really cool headphones for the audiophile in all of us, and for guys who like girls in headphones. That's all you gotta say. This one is actually, I enjoy these pictures. I enjoy this style, being an audiophile myself. This is something I think you guys would really enjoy to back. Because if anything, the quality of the artwork is very, very nice. I mean, a lot of these would be, you could hang them up as a poster, that kind of a quality. They're only asking for, if you want a physical copy of the book, they're only asking for $20. This is actually going to be translated and shipped from Japan straight to you. They're only asking for $20 for that. Now, there's other things above that. If you want book, postcards, digital wallpaper, a custom illustration, you can pay out the nose for those. But for the basic book, $20. And if you go to Kickstarter.com, just do a search for Moe headphones. You will find it. They have 13 days left to go in this this Kickstarter. They were only asking for $5,000. They've already more than doubled that. Currently, with 261 backers, $11,276 funded. So you still have 13 days left. I highly recommend spending the $20, getting this cool art book, and just enjoying the quality of the art. And you're supporting this. This is actually a fantastic way to get something straight from Japan that you probably wouldn't get any other way. Last but not least, let's talk about a figure that apparently is being heavily hyped online. And to me, it's middle of the road. From Freen, they've actually announced a brand new Guilty Crown figure. It's from Inori, but they wanted a more mature look, and they threw her in a yukata. And I have to say this, the very subdued design actually works well. She does have a more mature look than she did from the anime series. From what it is detailed. It is pretty detailed. I'm enjoying the blend of the colors, not only in the outfit, but also in her hair. It actually works well for it. But when people are online saying, oh my god, this is like an absolute must-have, I look at this and I go, it's nice. It is really nice, but when the price is 8,800 yen, just about $90 US, you kind of pause for a moment and go, it's nice, but is it worth that price? If it was, $20 cheaper, yeah, I'll buy this in a heartbeat. And it is, and Freen does actually, make great figures in the past. But I don't know. I think I may actually just skip out on this one. But like I said, a lot of people are hyping this one just because, hey, look, it's Guilty Crown. Guilty Crown was a fantastic series. I absolutely loved it. Am I going to buy this one figure? Probably not. There's probably a ton of people out there who will. Just not going to be me. So. Oh, alrighty, buddy. Well, looks like, again, we get close to an hour on these episodes when I keep on saying I'm only having like 20 to 30 minutes of content. But I guess there's a lot to talk about, and I love talking to you guys in the chat. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight, especially for the fact that we had to push this back an hour for the live show. So those of you who are watching live right now, thank you so much. Stay tuned for post-show. Start putting your votes in for what we're going to watch during the Moment of Zen in the chat right now. But for those of you watching on YouTube and on our website, thank you so much for hanging out. For AniBreak, I'm Jason. We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.